White Owl Tatum out of, I think, I'm not sure what White Owl Tatum is, but that's a major manufacturer. Boston, Philadelphia, they had a lot of glass houses in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, what they did was a traveling salesman would come take your order, and you could order 500 or 1,000, whatever you want, and it would just be shipped to you by rail. Yes.
Do you ever find human remains and missing people?
We haven't.
We have not. We've been close, but in Mankato, there was a guy digging a privy, and he came across human remains, and so they called in the investigator, and right away the first rumor was that it might have been an Indian from back in the day when they had the big hangings in Mankato, and they might have taken revenge on somebody, but it turned out to be a medical skeleton that somebody had thrown in the hole. But in St. Cloud, we were digging, trying to dig, waiting for this project to start, and it was a parking lot. And what it actually, the history behind it was, in the 1880s, it had been a church and the cemetery right next door. And the church burnt down, so they built a new church a couple of blocks away, and they hired somebody to move the bodies. Well, the person who was moving the bodies found it was a whole lot easier to move the headstones. So they 1903, they built a house over the top of this, and then the university in 1970s tore the house down and made it into a parking lot. And then in the 1990s, they were going to build a new library there, and we were waiting for the blacktop to disappear, but then the frost came, and then they started digging in the middle of the winter time, and then they found a bunch of human remains and brought the project to a stop. Now you see, if we would have been there, we would have found them earlier.
So how did you get started on this hobby?
Oh, that's a good question. Me personally, I used to collect aluminum, collect scrap metal, and I collect beer cans. I was in the beer can phase in the early 70s. And I would go out in the woods and find beer cans, and the stuff was on top. Well, as I got older, beer can condition got less and less and less, but all the bottles, like in the Boss soda bottle, it didn't seem to be affected any. Unless Mother Nature filled it up with water, or some young punk come by and started breaking them, they would survive forever. And I flipped to collecting bottles, and that's basically how I did it. And then I learned how to privy dig and dump dig and construction sites when I was 20 years old and stuff. And it just blossomed and progressed, and it is what it is now.
And I worked on in a scrap yard, and every time the heavy equipment would go by, you bounce. The ground always bounced. So one day the Army Corps of Engineers came along and said, well, we're going to move that creek that you guys are polluting over about 100 feet. And when the backhoe started digging, I was self-employed, and it was a huge backhoe. And this stuff come out by the pickup load. I still have 55-gallon barrels in my barn from 1992. Yeah, I got over 400 jugs, the old liquor jugs, thousands of bottles, and that's how I basically got started. Yeah. Yes.
What's the most valuable thing you've ever done?
That is always such a hard question. Okay, here's the thing. How do you place value on this? Okay, now, if this was the only drugstore with that name on it, and you wanted it, how much is it worth to you?
Yeah.
You see? And now, if you had, I have pieces that people would want to buy, but I don't want to sell them. Yeah, and so it's valid. And the thing of it is, there's people in Menominee that would be willing to buy this, but people in Minneapolis, you can take this whole table and say, you're nuts. Yeah, because it's what we call a regional hobby. Okay, these bottles are regional. Menominee is regional. This is a national bottle. This one, everybody in the United States is a collector of this kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh.